Oregon, a land of adventure and awe, a treasure.
That was a great take.
Majestic and hidden. A state that calls out for exploration and experience. The journey of discovery begins now. From KGW, this is Grants-Getaways.
Hi there, I'm Grant McComey, your host for KGW's Grants-Getaways, as we discover Oregon's people, places, and outdoor adventures. You know, when I was a boy, I fell in love with long distance. Not the telephone kind, but the dust-filled lanes and back roads that enticed a small-town kid to explore his home region now more than 50 years ago. Along the way, I made a discovery of treasure that's measured in the memories of so many interesting people, fascinating places, and intriguing outdoor adventures. These days, my greatest pleasure comes from sharing with you each week. And this week on Grants-Getaways, we meet a man who believes native songbirds need more than a simple roof over their heads. They need a backyard resort to call home. And it's the land of the giants that are massive and magnificent, and you can see them anytime. And we join a refugee from war who explores Oregon rivers with a rod and reel for the chance to discover big fish in new home waters. But first, each fall, Washington County history reaches back 90 years and comes alive in Verboort, Oregon. Its heritage shared by many friends and families through sausage for the soul. In Verboort, Oregon, fixing one dinner is monumental work. It's not easy making sausage and all the fixings to feed 8,000 people, but it's work that feeds the soul. Not far away, another group enjoys the soul-satisfying rewards from seasonal hunting trips in the Oregon outdoors.
This is just general Verboort sausage like they make at the Verboort sausage feed. And so I put the sausage in here, and I'm putting just to kind of cover the bottom.
Roger and Janet Van Dyke's family and friends connect with the Verboort sausage story in historic fashion.
Roger's grandmother had the original recipe for the Verboort sausage dinner.
That was 1934, when the first Verboort dinner was served. 100 meals back then, and grandmother Maggie Van Dyke managed it all. These days, the Van Dyke kitchen is in constant motion as the diners pitch in to offer their versions of sausage that they made from their deer and elk harvests.
Throwing it in the cast iron, and then we're going to add some beer. It's going to boil for a little while, and then once it's reduced a little bit, we'll add some sauerkraut.
The fiber is a nice little touch, right, because we go pretty heavy on the meat and proteins. We're going to mix some chorizo in there with the onions, with some cream cheese.
That will be the Verboort sausage with potatoes and gravy. Very traditional. That's Roger's favorite meal.
A lot of hard work that goes into everything that we do, getting all the way up to camp, the hours that we put in on the ground, finding animals, bringing them back home, processing them. But what a sweet treat, right?
He's right. The family and friends hunt together for deer and elk each fall. Their camping adventures provide plenty of stories to fuel strong memories long after rifles and boots are stored. A couple of winters ago, we saw the Van Dykes in sausage-making action. 4 days of work to process more than 400 pounds of venison and elk, turning the wild game bounty into half a dozen different recipes based on Grandmother Maggie's original.
Which is one of the reasons we're running multiple grinders, because the sooner we can get it processed, the healthier it is for the meat.
Because it's the only way you can get Verboort sausage. Everyone we serve it to says it's the best they've ever had, and they can't get it anywhere else. So we make it for our family and for some friends, and why not?
It's a lot like a holiday. I mean, it's kind of work, but it's a reason for everybody to get together and do something productive.
Roger and Janet's daughter, Erin, grew up making the varied recipes, and she was a mainstay of the operation. A longtime teacher and coach, she led a local high school equestrian team to multiple state championships, and she loved the Oregon outdoor life. Sadly, Erin passed last year following a long battle with cancer. Still, the family continues their traditions. It's what their daughter wanted.
They call it a hunting party. Well, this is a sausage making party, so here we are.
So what's in here?
This is the summer sausage, a 50-50 elk and pork.
What do you like about this recipe?
You know, it's a meal ready to eat anytime.
Roger's pride and joy is his hand-built vine maple burning smokehouse, where he watches for just the right amount of smoke.
I think I was 11 the first time we killed an elk, and we did sausage then.
Did they put you to work as a kid?
Would you consider that work, doing this? It's fun. It's pride.
This is probably my favorite recipe, yeah.
Quick and easy.
Just quick and easy, that's right.
Back at dinner, family and friends and the recipes come together, keeping tradition alive and sharing the season.
Because we love it. Almost like a family or a group event that we just do, and it's fun.
Stay with us. We meet a man who believes native songbirds need more than a simple roof over their heads. They need a backyard resort to make a home when Grants Getaways continues. There's quite an outdoor show for those in the know, as Oregon's wild places are prime. Rain or shine, places like Sauvie Island Wildlife Area are at their showy best. No better time of year, I like to say, as eagles soar and waterfowl dive.
This is south for 500,000 birds. This is the warm, mild, wet climate that is great for them. And people think, well, it's cold here. Why would they come here? Just imagine what it's like in northern Manitoba right now.
That's what I've been recently doing on them.
Dennis Frame loves the sights and sounds of the wild, so he builds feeders and houses for native songbirds.
And what's very cool about this is the seeds don't get all wet, so they stay dry.
But not just homes. These wooden structures are more like, well, resorts. Homeowner Irene Dixon says they really work.
They add pleasure, they add peace. They're just a de-stressor, that's the best way I can put it. The little rock, and it looks like a little place. If you can't have the lake house, this is the next best thing, right?
Frame is a builder of human homes by trade, but his greater pleasure comes from crafting elaborate bird resorts.
I've always enjoyed rustic, like log cabin type homes. I'll be driving out in the backcountry and I see like an old shanty over here and I go, oh, that's cool. So I'll just use that as a mental picture to recreate in a birdhouse.
He's been chipping away at his hobby for 15 years, and it's the details that may impress you the most. Stone and mortar chimneys, decks with handrails, small pieces of character that set them apart. He trades, barters, and salvages for everything, recycling for the birds. On top of that, he rarely sells one. Instead, he gives them away to environmental nonprofits like the Jackson Bottom Wetlands Education Center. They, in turn, sell Frame's bird resorts and raise hundreds of dollars to support their outdoor programs.
I enjoy the outdoors myself, and so anything I can do to promote somebody else getting out there and learning about the outdoors is a positive in my book.
Here's a species that's hard to miss. The B-52s of the waterfowl world are huge, easy to spy, and you can enjoy their show right now. I love travel across Oregon in winter. This is one of the reasons. Unexpected treats that come when wildlife put on quite the show. Especially tundra swans, the long-distance travelers of the waterfowl world.
Just sort of taking a little nap right now.
Few wildlife come close to surpassing the tundra swan's remarkable journey. For some birds, it's a 10,000-mile round-trip migration from the Arctic to Mexico wintering grounds and then back home again.
One thing is that they're huge. Okay, they're just some of the biggest, flying, heaviest birds in the world are swans. That's spectacular, and then being all pure white like they are is great.
Metro naturalist James Davis says the 12,000-acre Sauvie Island wildlife area is a fine place to admire them.
The fact that you can sometimes see 1,000 of them flying around is just pretty overwhelming in terms of seeing live birds. Pretty great.
And they range across the state. Marshy areas like Fern Hill Wetlands in Washington County is a prime hideout to catch a view to tundra swans. So is Basket Slough Refuge in Polk County, where visitor access is easy just off State Highway 22. Further afield, try the Klamath Wildlife Area in southern Oregon. Back on Sauvie Island, up to 2,000 swans will winter here. Assistant Manager Matt Keenan says the state wildlife area is a fine host for up to 200,000 waterfowl.
We manage specifically for wildlife, so there's a lot of natural wetland characteristics here, and there's also lots of food crop that we plant specifically for wildlife.
Davis adds that swans mate for life, and each winter their young of the year tag along.
Telling swans is not that hard, these giant white birds, but telling a bunch of ducks apart. So when you're looking at a distance, you need to have higher magnification, and you can't hold a higher magnification still in your hands to look through it.
So you carry both?
Of course. If you want to see everything, you got to do that.
Stay with us. We visit the land of the giants that are massive and magnificent, and you can see them anytime when Grants Getaways continues. When you step into Washington County's land of the giants,
yeah, I wish it was overcast. Now it'd be easier to see them there.
It's best to have them in clear focus.
These are magnificent, huge trees, and it's hard to capture that on film.
2 rows of giant sequoia trees stand like sentinels just off Porter Road near Forest Grove.
Wow.
They are a wonder and a challenge for famed Oregon photographer Steve Terrell.
I like to photograph from out here, showing the whole realm of it. Then also get inside, show this beautiful twisted, gnarly bark and branches they have. It's almost magical looking. When you walk in there, you're a little bit of a magical forest. It's really interesting.
The giants reach back to settlement days when entrepreneur John Ramsey Porter, fresh and flush from the California goldfields, settled in the county. Historian Mary Jo Morelli says Porter sold seedlings and seeds to eager homeowners wanting to show off their economic success, like these giants along Hawthorne Street.
Because they're so magnificent.
Word of mouth and a solid reputation meant easy sales for Porter to 19th century homeowners eager to make a statement.
We have the largest ones because of the early plantings. And they still are just this magnificent tree that works with the name Forest Grove. Just looking out over the town, you can see all the sequoias popping up.
There are more than 100 giant sequoias across the town, each more than 140 years old. This giant on the corner of Pacific and B is one for the record books. 152 feet tall, 32 feet around, largest in Oregon, and a state heritage tree that Terrell can't resist.
I try to get that feeling, I just try that. And it's the majestic power those trees have too, but the flow, every tree has a different flow to it. What I want people to do is look at this and say, geez, these are gorgeous. This is in Oregon, this is in Portland, I can go see this stuff.
Terrell says you don't have to travel far to see magnificent heritage trees, including the Hoyt Arboretum.
Oh, it's just unbelievably beautiful. It's a great place to come hike, enjoy yourself.
Terrell's been documenting hundreds of city heritage trees through a project sponsored by the Portland City Parks.
And I'll take notes. I'll seriously take notes, thinking, well, I should be back here in a couple of months. I really work to bring it to life, if you will.
You can walk to many of the city and state heritage trees or visit them online and discover the stories the giants can tell. Stay with us. We join a refugee from war who explores Oregon rivers with a rod and reel for the chance to discover big fish in new home waters when Grants Getaways continues.
Good morning, friends. How are you guys? Good morning.
On any given weekday, the youngsters step aboard VUTRAN's number 9002 bus.
You guys all excited?
And ride to school.
All right, friends, let's find a seat quickly, please. Good job back there.
Tran calls Route 160 a dream job in the Beaverton School District.
Let's use our library voices, please, in the back.
Considers himself a teacher aboard a rolling classroom.
I treat them like they're my own kids a lot, is what I do, because I would do anything to protect them if I'm on a school bus.
It is also the best work he's ever had because it gives back to his community.
We're a gateway to their success. We're sometimes the first adult they see and the last adult they see. And what we say to them can set a tone for their day, and how we end their day can set their tone when they're at home with mom and dad.
Have a good morning, friends. Bye. Bye, friends. Bye. Have a good morning. I'll see you guys in the afternoon, okay?
Setting the tone is important to a man whose childhood was filled with uncertainty. A refugee family who fled their homeland and landed in Oregon in '79.
To escape from the communism during the war, they were bounced around everywhere during the war in Vietnam. My mom's family lost their family business, lost everything, just needed to get out with communists. Took over, lost everything.
Vu credits his mom and dad for keeping everything together for the large family. They worked several jobs at once to find and build their American dream, beginning with education.
River's looking great. Should be fantastic.
Vu found something else along the way, a passion for the Oregon outdoors.
Ooh, I like that one right there.
Especially new home waters and the secrets they hold.
Oh, there's a fish. Just hanging out in that soft water over there. Nice rosy fish, a little spent. Another wild steelhead. This time of the year, you're gonna find a lot of wild fish. Top corner lip. There we go. And there he goes to go off and make more babies.
Vu was bit by the fishing bug as a kid, thanks to an uncle who took him trout fishing at Lost Lake near Spruce Run Campground. And then Vu discovered bigger fish that live in his new home waters.
They're called the fish of 1,000 casts, and I found out pretty early in my career that it takes a lot to get a steelhead to bite sometimes. It's a lot of work.
Angling success led to obsession. Vu is addicted to steelhead. His pictures from the last 20 years prove it.
How can you not smile when you're out here fishing? You can come down Highway 6 and there's 5 different rivers to fish. I can go down Highway 26 and pick 4 or 5 different rivers. We have so many choices. You can't put a price on that.
Ready for our main speaker tonight?
My name is Vu Tran. I've been fishing for steelhead about 15 years.
Nor a price on an earned reputation as one of the region's finest anglers and respected teachers.
But this is one of the most popular methods here is float fishing.
Vu speaks about fishing every chance he gets, and his enthusiastic lectures find few empty seats. Tonight, the Tualatin chapter of Northwest Steelheaders.
The next thing I'm going to ask you guys is, why do you fish? Love being outdoors, right there. That's me. I love being outdoors, right? It's about seeing the colors, being in God's country. That's what it's about for me. When I first came here in America, people helped our family through everything. Getting on our feet, finding our first apartment. To me, it's giving back to the community, helping out people, seeing people smile. You can't put a price on that when you see somebody smiling.
It just looks really fishy in there today.
Oh, there's a fish. I thought it was bottom.
Vu's journey has not been easy. There have been many twists and turns along his trail to reach new home waters. But he insists one thing is certain.
There were a lot of American soldiers who sacrificed their lives, a lot of people who sacrificed their life to try to bring freedom to the Vietnamese community and the refugees. I don't want to let them down, the men and women who sacrifice for my roots, because I was given the opportunity to have the American dream, and I'm going to seize it, and I'm going to make sure that I make everyone proud.
See if we can pop him off here.
Oh, there he goes.
That was a wild steelhead there. Want to let that one go. Luckily it popped off there, and he'll swim off to go make some babies.
We have all the details, directions, and the contact information for all the segments in this week's show on the KGW website, so be sure to check it out. Finally, it has always been my hope that Grants Getaways helps people swell a bit with pride for all there is to see and do in our corner of the world. I want you to get out there and explore the great Oregon outdoors and let Grants Getaways be your guide. For KGW and Grants Getaways, I'm Grant McComey.
Grants Getaways on KGW is sponsored by Astoria Brewing Company, England Marine and Industrial Supply, and Fishhawk Fisheries.